Hello and welcome to Coach's Decision, a weekly talk show where we talk sports stories from the Bay Area and beyond. My name is Thomas Todd. I'm joined here in studio by a man who has grown 2 inches after spending a year in space. It's Joaquin Nagel!
Hey, Thomas, it's great to be back.
You know how I got you
Return of
back?
the Mac right here.
Return of the Mac. You know how I got you back?
How?
I promised that I would put the Warriors game on a little monitor here.
I know. Otherwise, I'd be sitting comfortably at home, listening to the radio, disagreeing with you, and watching the Warriors.
You're that guy in those commercials where they have, like, you know, you can have sports on every device or TV on every device as you walk through your house.
Yes.
That's you. On the drive over here, you had your phone.
iPad in the passenger seat.
You walked into the studio. You have little mirrors on your shoes that reflect your iPad knee pads.
I have Google Glass just for a basketball Twitter stream.
Your middle name is now officially League Pass.
That's what they call me.
Okay, well, we brought Joaquin in today, Danny off this week, to do an NBA check-in because we're starting to get towards the end of the regular season. So we're going to look at the standings. We're going to analyze the Warriors, the Cavs, see what's going on in the East overall.
Does anyone know what's going on in the East?
No.
How? How are all these teams bunched so closely together?
I think daylight savings time will clear things up in the East.
Okay.
Not quite sure. But we're going to start off by talking about Ben Simmons. So we know him as the top NBA prospect.
Yes.
You know him just as that, but I watch a little college basketball here and there.
You watch him refuse to take jump shots with LSU?
Well, I watch a lot of people refuse to take jump shots. Rajon Rondo. That's really about it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, in the NBA, people tend to be able to shoot the ball from 15 to 20 feet.
Right. Well, he's 19, so
yes.
But he's also ineligible now for the Wooden Award because he's not academically eligible at LSU.
I'm convinced that half of the one-and-done guys aren't actually academically eligible. This isn't really shocking.
Which is confusing to me because it seems like LSU may be the ones being difficult about this whole thing. A team like Kentucky, who has plenty of freshmen, and Duke the last few seasons, so they have a good academic record, may have been just letting more things go. Maybe LSU is the one being sticklers.
Well, who advised Ben Simmons to go to LSU in the first place? Do they have a history of
His
Australian
godfather
prospects or
is
something?
An assistant coach.
Okay.
LSU hired his godfather as one of the assistant coaches, so he kind of followed in tow. But he's not from a long line of LSU greats. You know, you had
Shaq.
You had, Pistol Pete Maravich, Shaq, Glenn Big Baby Davis.
Yep, Baby Shaq.
Tyus Thomas.
Okay, you're losing me there.
Yeah, this isn't really a long, historied program, but I don't know how they deal with individual academics, and apparently it seems they put the screws to him, because I can't remember another one-and-done freshman who didn't appear to be going to class and is punished for it.
Didn't Shaq make a movie about not having to go to class?
He got his degree eventually.
But I mean, in Blue Chips, right?
Blue
He
Chips,
made
yeah.
a movie about people not really going to college and playing basketball.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't something that's outside of what people think of when they think of college ball, especially with the one and done rule.
Yeah, with the one and done rule, my argument was always, why don't they go and play overseas? And then I realized why. Because they're 18-year-old men. Yeah, they're 18-year-old men.
So a lot of them are 17 coming out of high school.
Right, who would need not supervision, but they would at least need an infrastructure of people around them to help them deal with money and travel and a cousin or an uncle or someone who eventually steals your money, but
someone who's going to uproot their life along with your wife.
Yeah, the only one who's done it is Brandon Jennings, and worked out fine for him. He has a viable NBA
He said the
career.
thing he learned was that the first car he should buy when he came back to America was like a Honda Focus. Like, he was one of the few guys who just came back. He's like, I need to save all my money because there's so many old dudes playing in Europe who could be retired.
Yeah, I'm omitting Moutier too, but his story is yet to really unfold.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem to have adversely affected his draft stock.
Right, he still went top 10. So he's Ben Simmons not going to win the Wooden Award. Not that big of a deal, Who won last year's Wooden Award? We don't know.
Yeah, you watch college basketball.
I love college basketball. I still don't know. Dougie McBuckets? That was a couple years ago.
Did Shane Battier win it once? He seems like the sort of person that they want to give awards to.
Yeah, J.J. Redick and the like. Now it's Denzel Valentine and Buddy Hield. You don't care, but you're going to watch the tournament, right? At least parts of the
Always
tournament.
watch the tournament.
I'm going to give you some advice on Buddy Hield and Denzel Valentine. Buddy Hield kind of annoys me because he only shoots threes. And that's good, I guess. You know, we watch a lot of Steph Curry who shoots a ton of threes.
Shoot at the rim and from the arc.
But he doesn't go at the rim enough. He's so reliant on the three-point shot.
So he's the new Dougie McBuckets?
Yeah, I guess. And I just don't find it as entertaining. I'm also completely biased because Michigan State's Denzel Valentine is fantastic.
Okay, and tell me about him.
He's a better overall player. I've been watching him since his freshman year. I think he was the year after Draymond graduated, so he was that new school of MSU players. But he's a 4-year senior this year. He's always had an innate sense of passing because he's about 6'6", 6'7", so he plays kind of a small forward, but he plays point forward. So he's got great passing skills. He rebounds. He can now shoot out to 22, 23 feet. So he's a very versatile guy. He shoots off the dribble. He shoots catch and shoot. So he's a really fun player to watch if you like high basketball IQ, which I know you do.
When it comes to Michigan State 4-year seniors who are going to eventually go to the NBA, does he have more of a Draymond Green feel or a Mateen Cleaves feel?
Oh, it's tough because he's bigger than Cleaves and plays a different position, but he may be the modern-day small ball, small forward who can stretch and shoot, but he can drive and can keep the ball moving around the perimeter.
Not a record scratch guy?
Yeah, not a record scratch guy, but he's going to, like I said, keep the ball moving and get other people open. So as far as his NBA career, I don't know, but I'm going to enjoy the heck out of his last tournament because I've been watching him his entire career at Michigan State. What are your plans for the tournament? Are you going to fill out a bracket?
I always fill out a bracket, always pick at least 3 12 seeds to upset 5 seeds because you're going to be right on 2 of them. Like 2 12 seeds are going to win.
Yeah, the 12 over 5, it's so classic. I keep trying to tell people that and they don't listen.
Yeah, you got to pick some 12s over 5s. You got to pick some 11s over
6.
Over 6.
It always adds up to 17. That's what I always remember. 12, 5, 11, 6. Always adds up to 17.
I mean, if you're not doing it, you're just giving away points in the first 2 rounds.
We're gonna have a coach's decision bracket challenge between the 5 of us.
A bracketology, are you gonna break it down for us and like how you do brackets, or just gonna?
I'm gonna be the Joey brackets of coach's decision.
Okay.
I'll be the Joe Lenardi. Though I haven't watched as much as I should this season. Someone who's gonna be watching a lot of tennis coming up.
Yeah.
Maria Sharapova. Not you playing a lot of tennis.
Yeah. Just testing positive for banned substances.
She's testing positive for not playing tennis, and not having many more endorsements coming her way. Maria Sharapova tests positive for a drug I've never heard of, which I don't know why she tests for a drug I've heard of, because I've heard of like 3: acid, crack cocaine, marijuana,
Terbutolol or something. I don't know.
Ibuprofen.
Yeah.
These are the drugs I've heard of.
Hopefully ibuprofen isn't a banned substance.
Not yet. They're working on it. Playing with a headache is really important. So she's done for now. We don't know for how long. She got ahead of the story. She came out and said, I tested positive at the Australian Open. I'm sorry. I've been taking this substance a very long time.
Yeah, for a decade almost.
Something we cannot confirm and almost don't believe. The substance is recently banned, which helps her case a little bit because she just didn't know the quote-unquote updated list of banned substances. So where does she take this from here? Because she's not in her prime anymore.
No, she's not. She's not really a favorite to win any major anymore. I'm not really sure what it means for her. In terms of how this story's coming out and her getting ahead of it, I'm not sure that I fully believe the medical reasons diagnosis. This is a non-FDA approved substance, and Sharapova is based in the U.S., so I don't know what doctor would be prescribing her this.
Dr. Love.
Dr.
You can find any number of doctors to prescribe you anything.
Okay.
We live in Santa Cruz County.
That's fair. So maybe she needed to feel better. But this is a drug that's been prevalent amongst the Russian Federation in terms of their athletes have been hit particularly hard.
Are they turning into the East Germans from the 70s?
What do you mean by
80s?
Turning into? They're already banned from track and field.
Have you seen the trailer for the the Jesse Owens movie?
Oh, have you seen Rocky IV?
I've seen both of those things. But Jesse Owens, the movie called Race, a play on words of him.
I don't get it.
Being a racer and having an ethnicity.
Okay.
I voted for Black and Field as the title for the movie. I'm going to keep treading that joke until I get more reactions like that. It's the first solid laugh I've gotten out of that.
I like
Thank you,
it.
Joaquin. Good.
You're welcome.
I think it's fantastic.
But
it's the Flyboys of track and field movies, but
it's the Tuskegee Airmen of track and field movies.
So back to Sharapova. 2 years, 4 years, because it's almost unlimited how much they can suspend her for.
Yeah.
And 4 years, that's her career. It's over.
She already has no more sponsors, so.
Can you pronounce Tag Heuer? Tag how? Every time an athlete does something bad, Tiger Woods gets hit with a golf club in his SUV, and Tag Heuer.
Yeah.
I don't have expensive watch taste.
No.
My expensive watch is an iPhone 4S.
I'm not exactly the demographic that tennis marketers and people who are marketing at golf tournaments are looking at either.
When Target drops out, give me a ring. I can talk about that.
Target and Nike.
Nike, yeah.
Nike.
Adidas.
Those are your fancy tastes?
Adidas, the Middle Eastern shoe company. All right. Speaking of people getting ahead of their own HGH story, Peyton Manning's done.
Is that the only story he was getting ahead of?
No. He was getting ahead of a lot of stories. Full frontal ahead of the stories.
Somehow he's been ahead of some stories for decades.
So Manning retires. He gives one of the greatest retirement speeches ever. It was the perfect blend of thank you and crying.
Yes.
Which is the intersection you want to hit. You know, if you have a dead child or your dad died suddenly in your youth, then you can probably give one of the better Hall of Fame or retirement speeches. But Manning hasn't had a whole lot of tragedy in his public life. So I think he did a pretty bang-up job.
I didn't
retiring.
get to watch the speech. Was it pre-recorded and then they just projected it on his big-ass forehead?
No, they used Eli's forehead.
Oh, okay, perfect. He and his brother and his dad all stand side by side, and they played it in widescreen. 70 millimeter print.
Quentin Tarantino shot it. It's in Dolby Digital.
They'd taken it on the roadshow version of the Peyton retirement speech.
So he thanked everybody that was appropriate. He thanked his competitors over the years, the defenders who had to put up with him. He thanked both teams that he played for, the fans and everybody. It was really spot up. It was really good the way he did that. But now there's the fallout for Denver, and we can get into this because we figured they had two quarterbacks last season. They kind of played, gunner with them. Well, Manning's not going to start now. We're going to try Osweiler for 7 games. Oh, then we're going to bring back Manning for the playoffs.
And Osweiler very well could have won that Super Bowl.
Oh, who knows? I mean,
right?
Who does Osweiler beat the Patriots? I don't know. Does Osweiler beat Killer Cam? I don't know. We will never know. But now, neither guy is on the Broncos. Osweiler's on the Texans. Free agency started today. Brock Osweiler left.
Yeah.
John Elway has no quarterback right now. He had 2 quarterbacks a minute ago. How do you end up with none?
Is Nick Foles a free agent now? Is that the answer?
Is that what you... Because, see, producer Tory's talking Tebow.
Oh, goodness.
Which is the last conversation anyone needs to have.
The Sanchez, is he out there?
I think he's under contract. Here's the thing.
Is anyone really under contract? Maybe they can get Kaepernick.
Oh, that's another thing. I think the 49ers are going to give Cap a shot.
Yeah.
To start with Chip Kelly and see if it was just coaching and injuries that was the problem. This is his last shot for Kaepernick this season to be a righted-in starter. But here's what I think happened in Denver. Brock Osweiler went 5-2.
Yes.
And thought, man, I'm good.
Well, he's pretty good.
And then to get benched for the guy who he's watching in practice throw duck snorts. You know how quarterbacks throw the ball through the tire? It looked like he was throwing the tire.
He was rugby passing it through the tire.
So Brock is watching all of this and makes a decision week 17 of the football season. I am leaving.
Yes.
I am gone.
You think he made that decision that far back?
I'm starting to think that.
But how do you think the Denver Brass just never spoke with him?
No, because what Osweiler would do, because they were talking about, maybe they have a back channel deal, like, we're going to write out
a
this
handshake.
We're going to write out this Manning thing. You'll still have a good defense next year to play with, and then it'll be your team. We'll turn it over to you.
Kind of like how teams do the whole coach in waiting thing to avoid the Rooney Rule.
Yeah, absolutely. Or, I mean, even the Miami Heat trading for Goran Dragic, they wouldn't have traded for him if they didn't know he was going to re-sign, because you don't give up picks.
That's true.
If you don't know the guy's going to re-sign for a team-friendly deal. But what I think happened is Osweiler made his decision in Week 17 and then did not tell the Broncos that. Used their offer as leverage to go get another deal with another team. I think he straight up spurned them. And I don't blame him for that at all, because he thought he was great. He thought he was 5-2 on a winning football team and then didn't get to play in the playoffs.
Well, he does get a ring.
Yeah, but those rings don't count. I mean, Vinny Testaverde has a ring. Doesn't mean...
That's fair.
It doesn't mean he's Super Bowl winning quarterback Vinny Testaverde.
You think Osweiler finds success with the Texans? Do you think they're not the laughingstock they were this year?
They made the playoffs last year.
They were still a laughingstock.
Let's be real. Well, they were a laughingstock because they didn't have a quarterback.
Yeah.
And now they do.
Yeah, do you think they're like a competitive playoff team now?
They play in a horrible division.
Yeah.
The Jaguars, the Texans, the Titans, who are still terrible, and the Colts, who
were surprisingly terrible.
Somehow find a way to be terrible every season, even though they have a top 5, top 10 quarterback. So I think that the Texans can make the playoffs with Brock Osweiler. He turns the ball over a little bit too much. He's a middle-of-the-road quarterback, but middle-of-the-road quarterbacking for them might have won them a playoff game.
Okay.
So, I think Brock Osweiler made the right choice. He also doesn't have to be the star of his team.
Fair.
Because of J.J. Watt.
Do you think this Super Bowl winning Broncos team holds up, or do you see it like other defense first Super Bowl winners such as the Buccaneers or the Ravens?
Well, it's already crumbling. Malik Jackson is gone, and he's not a household name like DeMarcus Ware and Von Miller are right now. But he was just as good as DeMarcus Ware was. Maybe not as Von Miller, but he was just as good as any of the 2 or 3 best players on that Denver defense. Aqib Talib probably not coming back, so it might be the right time to crumble if you're Denver, and not completely fall apart, but it might be time to look out in the free agent market for a quarterback who's not going to be high variance. Maybe you'll go 5-11. Maybe you'll go 11-5, and draft one this year. Who knows?
Okay.
So everything's open for Denver right now, and John Elway's been pretty good about quarterbacks. He had Tim Tebow win a playoff game for his team,
and then didn't stupidly commit to Tebow.
Yeah. He didn't pull a San Francisco Giants where you win the World Series, then you just sign everybody just because those were the guys who won you the World Series. So big props to John Elway for the job he's done. And hopefully he'll find himself another quarterback. Okay. I think it's better when John Elway's team is good.
You do?
I've always liked John Elway.
I think, the Broncos have been a staple of the AFC being good, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
For decades now,
yeah.
Since John Elway was a young quarterback for them?
Since the 80s. I was listening to Simmons talk to his dad on his podcast and not realizing that John Elway went 10-0. I think it was Elway or Marino?
Yeah, Elway.
It was Elway, went 10-0 against the Patriots in his career. That's amazing.
That's wonderful.
To beat a team 10 times. Whew.
It's like how the Spurs used to treat the Warriors.
Oh, man. And they still will in the future. It'll happen.
Ugh.
Let's get into that.
Yeah.
I want your thoughts on the Warriors, and we're going to get around to the rest of the league as well. We haven't talked when's the last time you were on this? A couple months now?
A couple months now.
So they're 555-6.
Yes.
They've won 4,000 games.
They have a winning percentage of 104%.
Yes, 104%, 104.1 actually, FM. That's a little plug for Coach's Decision. Check in with me on the Warriors. What is the temperature with the team? There's been some discord in between then and now. There's been a lot of wins in between then and now. Curry's been scoring more between then and now. What is your feeling on the team?
My feeling is that the rotations have drastically changed since Steve Kerr came back as the head coach. They're not playing Draymond Green at center nearly as often as they were before. Specifically, they're not playing the Curry, Thompson, Green, Barnes, and Iguodala lineup.
The lineup of death.
The lineup of death. They're not playing the lineup of death as much. They're playing, when they do play Draymond at center, because they do have to get minutes with Draymond at center, especially with injuries to Azili and Mo Spates going in and out of the ability to play professional basketball. When they do play those lineups, they're still playing maybe the Diet Coke lineup of death, or the Coke Zero lineup of death.
The Coke Zero, the Crystal Pepsi,
the new Coke lineup of death. Or they're putting Sean Livingston in there instead of Harrison Barnes, and it seems to usually be Harrison Barnes who's getting rotated out here. And I think that's telling, because Harrison Barnes is actually a key figure in that lineup, because it's not only Draymond's ability to play center, but Harrison Barnes' ability to guard big fours that makes that lineup workable.
Yeah, in that Memphis series, he guarded Zebo.
Yeah, even when Bogut was playing free safety on Tony Allen, and that's because Barnes could guard Zebo.
No,
and Draymond
that's
could
because
guard.
An intern said, "Hey, how about this?"
No,
I know.
That's the finals. Let's not give the interns credit for all of the rounds.
No, I thought one of them said that Tony Allen came up with the Tony Allen thing.
I thought it was starting Draymond. center.
No. I think it was guarding Tony Allen with somebody else, and Kerr was like, nothing else has worked.
Well, so getting back to what I was saying, they won't play Barnes in that lineup, and instead they'll play Rush or they'll play Livingston, someone with not as much size and not as much strength to guard the post as well. They're effectively hiding their actual offense and their actual strategies. And they're also doing it to close games. Like for the past few games, you've seen a lot of closing lineups that feature Bogut and Livingston, which come playoff time doesn't seem like the lineup they would probably use.
So you're saying they're pulling a Randy Whitman?
They're trying to pull a Spurs. I think this is directly from Kerr's experience with Greg Popovich of people always saying, you're never going to see what this Spurs team actually looks like until the playoffs come. It's the same thing here with this Warriors team.
So interesting. So you're saying Luke Walton was coaching the team the way it's constructed to win every game, and Kerr's coaching for the playoffs and next season, the season after. Luke Walton was basically coaching for a new job.
Yes. Well, not only that, but also because Kerr couldn't be there to make adjustments and choose what should happen when. Luke Walton was going off the presets of these guys play in these minutes. If it's this close, you play this way at this time. And Kerr's doing things like calling a late game timeout in the Magic game and then having the play be a Sean Livingston, Steph Curry high screen and roll instead of being a play with like Draymond and Curry in the high screen and then having the trap and the outlet to Draymond, and then because everyone's saying how do you solve the Draymond Curry high screen and roll, but that's not the question the Warriors are asking you to solve right now. They're just getting away with winning by playing all these weird lineups and rotations.
Yeah, and to beat the Warriors, you have to abuse the second unit. If the second unit's going to pop off, if Spates is going to get open 17-footers, and you're going to let Livingston post up and hit the shot he hits 100% of the time, which is the 11-foot turnaround jump shot, every time he hits that shot.
Either over either shoulder, fading to the baseline, back to the middle.
He hits that every single time.
Yeah, he just gets a little lift, squares up. He's 6'7". Guys, second unit point guards are usually smaller point guards. You have a lot of advantage there with someone like Livingston. You can put Livingston on 6 foot tall Aaron Brooks. What are you going to do?
Aaron Brooks cried to his mama.
There you go. But it's similar to the Joaquin likes the Bucks award. It's similar to the Bucks moving Michael Carter Williams to the bench because he's 6'7" too.
Did you call it the Joaquin likes the Bucks award?
Alert.
Oh, alert. I should make it an award.
But no, it's just going to be, I'm probably going to too often compare things to something Jason Kidd or Steve Kerr is doing coaching-wise. And that's because I care a little bit too much about the Bucks. Watching the Bucks is fun. It's like watching the Warriors circa, 2010 where they're trying to win all the time and the pieces don't quite fit and they have to deal with someone like Corey Maggette and you don't know why someone like Steph Curry's getting benched for AC Law. All these weird things are happening. But they're still fun to watch.
AC Law the fourth, by the way.
Sorry.
A fellow fourth. I had to throw that in there.
You gotta shout out to the other fourths.
73 wins?
Big ups to your fourth homies. Yeah, I think so.
Okay. The schedule's not that hard.
Undefeated at home, that's the hard one. Do you think they beat the Spurs? They have one more home game against the Spurs.
Yeah, that's the tough one because the Spurs also undefeated at home, and I think they still have a road game.
I think they have 3 left with the Spurs.
Oh, okay. 2. The first one was at Golden.
The first one was
on
here.
The road?
Yeah, 2 on the road and one in Oakland.
That's going to be interesting. Curry just let one go from
and Curry banks it in from half court to
if you listening out there forgot, we are watching, and Curry just ran into the tunnel.
And no one in the country is surprised as Curry runs through the bowels of Oracle.
He just Forrest Gumped
his way out off the court.
He just kept running. Oh my goodness, that was from beyond half court. That's a perfect way to round out. I got the chills. So we're going to round out the Warriors talk.
I've got one more thing on the Warriors. Okay. I just want to talk quickly about that backcourt of Steph and Clay. When the Warriors lost to the Lakers, it was notable that Curry made 1 3-pointer and Clay made none.
Yeah, 1 for 18, I think they were.
And Clay is actually having his second worst 3-point shooting season of his career right now at 402% from 3. Or so just over 40%. Still over 40%.
You think he broke himself in the 3-point contest?
Well, he's been shooting notably worse since early February. But something that's interesting is he's vastly improved his shooting at the rim. He's actually shooting better at the rim than the consensus top 3 shooting guards in the league, who are Harden, Butler, and DeRozan. So he's shooting a better percentage at the rim than them, but he's just 14th in free throw attempts per game among shooting guards at 3 per game. And of that trio I just mentioned, the lowest in attempts per game, I believe, is DeRozan at 7.8.
Well, here's the thing. Klay doesn't go hard at the rim. Klay goes smooth at the rim. He has this little head jostle that gets the defender's arms to clear, and then he goes for the finger roll layup. He does that so often.
And so with Klay only shooting 3.1 free throw attempts per game at the rim, and then Curry's shooting something like 5 free throw attempts. Curry's actually has the fewest free throw attempts per game of any player, averaging 30 a game in the history of the league. So that could be a problem for the Warriors in the playoffs as the game slows down, as they're not able to get as much offense in transition. Is can they get to the line and can they score efficiently in the half court?
Interesting, and that's where Livingston and Iguodala become effective, because Iguodala's pretty good at getting fouled.
Yeah, that's where having also the extra passers. That's why it's so important that they have guys like Livingston, Iguodala, and Bogut who can still distribute the ball and keep the ball moving, so that it can be almost as though they're playing in transition when they're in the half court. They don't have to deal with as many isolations or post-up plays.
Okay, well, we're going to take a quick break before we talk about the rest of the NBA to tell you about our favorite restaurant, 99 Bottles, located in downtown Santa Cruz. It is the premier dining and drinking destination in downtown. We love this place because they have an unlimited selection of beers. Try to quantify that. You can't. They also have a full bar, a full pub bar menu, a really friendly staff. They will play sports. I bet you there are dozens of people down there watching the Golden State Warriors right now. They don't have the privilege of sitting in the studio and watching it alongside one of the greatest basketball minds in the world, Joaquin Nagel. But Joaquin goes to 99 Bottles. I go to 99 Bottles. Heck, my friends even work there. That's how awesome it is.
My goodness. They have trivia night, right?
They have trivia night every Wednesday. That's happening right now as well. So much going on there. Cool place to bring your dog. They have patio seating that looks out onto Walnut Street. It's on Walnut between Cedar and Pacific, right smack dab in the middle of downtown. Thank you so much to 99 Bottles. Please support this local business. Okay, I've got the standings out, and we'll start at the top of the East.
Okay.
Cleveland just 2 games up on Toronto, entering today, Wednesday, March 10th.
Yeah, they just pulled off a surprising loss to the Goon Squad Grizzlies.
No Zebo. No Gasol.
No Conley.
No Mike Conley Jr.
No Birdman.
No Birdman.
But you know who they had? They had Tony Allen and Lance Stevenson. That's right, LeBron. Deal with those two guys.
In Cleveland.
Yeah.
I'd been
right after the subtweet extravaganza that has been the last week of Cavs basketball.
I had been trashing the narrative that Cleveland had to be worried because the Eastern Conference, not that great. It's not very top heavy. You know, Chicago's gone. Bye-bye Chicago. No longer a contender against Cleveland. So we all thought, oh, let's pencil LeBron into the finals. But it's starting to add up for me that Kyrie's playing like crap. Kevin Love is effective but not great.
Okay.
And
Kevin Love was particularly good before Kyrie came back.
The coaching is meh.
Is suspect?
They're worse on offense than they were under David Blatt.
But when Tyronn Lue took over, he said they'd play fast. And that counts when you're a new coach. You always say you're going to play fast.
He lied.
Yeah.
They can't. You know why they can't play fast?
Because LeBron doesn't play fast?
Yeah. Why would he want to play fast?
The Heat played slow.
And
the Heat have memorable fast break dunks and whatnot, but on average, their pace really slow.
They had 2 great ISO players, though. The Cavs right now have 1.
And when Kyrie's not on the floor, they do have a great ISO player and the spacing for a great pick and roll guy like Love. And Love is a great ISO player if you give him the ball in the post, but there's no space for him to have the ball in the post with LeBron and Kyrie on the floor because LeBron isn't a three-point shooter anymore. And so you can't get the ball to Love on in the post with LeBron unable to shoot threes and then either Tristan Thompson or Mozgov working around on the baseline.
They're still waiting on Shumpert too, right? That's going to be big for them.
Yeah, he's a 3-and-D guy.
He's like the 3-and-D guy.
J.R. Smith?
He's a 3 guy. Does he play D? Honestly?
He commits flagrant fouls, so that counts for something, I guess.
Wow, Draymond called that shot, too, and Curry took that one from half court. Draymond's arms went up right away like, yup.
Yeah, it's like Bogut contesting his 3 the other day. But yeah, the Cavs have issues. And the Cavs are bored, also. It doesn't seem like they're making it through these sort of like pre-tournament dog days of the NBA schedule with much gusto. LeBron's off hanging out in Miami and tweeting about passive-aggressive things.
Tweeting God knows what. I work out on back-to-back days off. I don't know what I'm yelling about.
He's using his beautiful mind to be social.
Oh, my goodness. He needs to stop with that Da Vinci Code crap. I never know what that means. So Toronto's 2 games back. I guess the argument you can make is that Atlanta had this type of run last year, and then Cleveland just crushed them in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Is Toronto setting itself up for a Hawks-like crushing at the hands of Cleveland?
I don't think they'll be losing 2 of their top 3 important players or top 4 most important players like the Hawks were. Like the Hawks had Korver and Horford playing through injury and Carroll not playing when they got crushed.
Well, Carroll's may not be playing for Toronto.
But the thing that Toronto is setting themselves up for that was similar to the Hawks is one of the things that Toronto does really, really well is they use their bench, and they have a big advantage when it's their bench playing against their opponent's bench. And that's something that we see less of in the playoffs because the pace slows down and the minutes for the starters go up. And when that happens, you don't get to use those sort of marginal advantages that can get you an extra 3 or 4 wins throughout the course of the regular season. That doesn't add up to now 1 extra win in a playoff series.
So you're not willing to pick Toronto over the Cavs in the Eastern Conference Finals?
No, not at all. I'm not sure I'm willing to pick Toronto over whoever winds up being the 7 seed.
Wow. And I'm looking
right
at the
now,
standings.
Who is it?
Indiana?
Yeah. Are you really comfortable picking Toronto over Indiana?
Nope.
George Hill's good. Paul George is good.
All the Hills.
The other 2 Hills are good.
And
Solomon Hill and
who's the other one?
Bryant. Is it?
Brian Hill? No, that's an ancient reference. We'll get back to you on who the 3rd Hill brother is.
He played for the Lakers, right? Whoever the third
Jody
Hill.
Meeks. That's the 3rd Hill. That's who it is.
And but no, the Pacers are good. The Pacers have something, right? And they got Monte. He have it all. So they have the means to beat Toronto. Like, I'm not even comfortable necessarily picking Toronto to make it to the second round.
Okay, let's get back to the West. San Antonio obviously has the best shot at Golden State.
And they have the 2nd seed all locked up with a chance at the 1 seed.
Is OKC done?
Done for what?
Be able to reach the finals. Are they able to reach the NBA Finals?
Yes.
Why?
Because San Antonio still hasn't defeated a healthy Oklahoma City team.
But
San Antonio hasn't won a playoff
3 times.
San Antonio hasn't won a playoff series against Oklahoma City when Serge Ibaka's healthy. So Oklahoma City has something to lean on when they go into a series with San Antonio for their confidence.
Are they just hoping but San Antonio's not going to play OKC has to go through Golden State if they're going to be the 3 seed.
Right. Well, no, they can hope Golden State loses on their half of the bracket before the.
In what matchup?
The Clippers? I don't know.
Oh, stop it.
The Clippers beat the.
Stop it.
But who? So the Warriors just beat Oklahoma City 3 times. Yeah. If they beat the Spurs 2 more times, are we saying the Spurs are done all of a sudden?
No, because the Spurs aren't trying. OKC's throwing haymakers at the Warriors, but crunch time they just don't have it.
Yeah. Okay, I can see that. I would definitely pick the Warriors in a series with Oklahoma City, but Durant still scares me.
I'm ready to scratch them off.
If you look at that game, what was it, February 6th, the game right before the Super Bowl, when they pulled within 1 or tied it up late in the 4th quarter, and then Durant took that pull-up 3, and he had been killing the Warriors all night. He already had 40 points in the game. I thought Oklahoma City's taking the lead right there. I thought the Warriors' home winning streak's over right there.
Okay.
So Kevin Durant, best scorer of his generation, probably best ISO scorer in the league right now. I'm not picking against Oklahoma City. I'm not scratching them off the list by any means.
Okay, well that's our NBA wrap with NBA expert Joaquin Nagel. Thank you so much.
Just don't call me an insider.
You are not. You're definitely an outsider.
NBA outsider.
Everyone in sports in Santa Cruz is an outsider. There's no stuff that happens here.
There's probably some big wave surfer insiders out there.
God, I can't stand that stuff. All right, one more plug.
MMA insiders.
Ooh, one more plug. CoachesDecisionKSCO.com will get you to a link to 2 wonderful sports merchandise websites. They are called Fanatics.com and FansEdge.com. They are both our partners. If you go through our website, CoachesDecisionKSCO.com, and click on those links, they can save you 20, 30, even 40% on some fantastic sports merchandise. Please go to them the next time you want to buy a jersey, a hat, a pair of Kobe socks, which I'm sure Joaquin loved last weekend.
Stance
the Kobe socks. Which ones did you want? Because there were 3 pairs. There's like the realistic Kobe giant face. There was the weird cartoon Kobe.
Cartoon Kobe.
You want cartoon Kobe? Okay.
Froby.
Fansedge.com, fanatics.com, but don't forget to go through our website. Now, it is time to bring on a man who can't talk as much basketball as Joaquin, but he is my baseball guy, my college buddy, my San Francisco Giants brethren. It's Daniel Zarchi. How you doing, buddy?
Not quite as well as Steph Curry, who just made a 55-foot shot.
We saw that. Danny, we were watching the game in studio.
Well, he's Steph. Steph is doing Steph things, and then he went running into the locker room to celebrate the halftime. I love it.
I called it a Forrest Gump move. Scores the touchdown and just keeps going, and then just runs clear across the country.
A water boy move.
You know what I love? You know what it reminds me of is back when Alden Smith was actually sane and doing good things for the 49ers, he would sack somebody and then just immediately run to the bench and sit down.
It's a great move. Hopefully it's third down.
It reminds me of the movie Angels in the Outfield at the beginning when they tell the kid to run home and he runs all the way to his house.
Oh, Al. That joke that Christopher Lloyd wears the hat that says, AL, and they call him Al, that joke doesn't work anymore because now the umpires are united. There's no American League and National League umpires.
It wasn't an Angels joke?
No, it wasn't an Angels. I get it. Oh, God. Joaquin got me again. All right, Danny, we brought you on to talk baseball. I have one pressing question. Why is Chase Utley not suspended anymore? We hate Chase Utley. Can we start with saying we hate Chase Utley?
Yeah, I stopped hating him for that short break last year where it looked like he might get traded to the Giants, and then he got traded to the Dodgers, and it all just came flooding back.
Like doubled down.
Yeah, I don't really understand it, particularly given that they added more protection to protect these guys and added a new rule this year against takeout slides.
He broke Ruben Tejada's leg in the playoffs.
Right.
They changed the rule.
Utley should not be punished based on the new rule. He should be punished based on the old rule. And the old rule did not provide that much protection because there was just some vague wording about if they could touch the base from where they end up, or something like that. And but you could do that from basically anywhere. You would have to go way out of your way to knock the guy down to be punished under that rule. So it seemed like the original suspension, while obviously good for karmic purposes, was not necessarily something that it didn't seem like he'd broken the rule, which of course for good reason caused people to say, well, if that didn't break the rule, then the rule was wrong.
Right. I guess you have a good point that you can't post hoc suspend someone after you plan on changing the rule. Joaquin, you have a thought?
Oh, I was just going to say that's something that clearly wouldn't hold up under appeal, right? Like the players union is there for a reason.
I've got one lawyer on the line. I don't need one in studio too. All right, Danny. So Chase Utley not going to be suspended. What have you seen this spring training from any team? You're probably going to pick the Giants. What have you seen from spring training that you've liked? What have you seen that you haven't liked?
Well, yeah, I'm not enough of a baseball wonk to actually watch spring training games from other teams.
With no audio and just all you hear is the crack of the bat and see little blurry guys running around? Because I tried. Yeah. I tried to watch some games, but it's too blurry.
Well, the thing is that, the funny thing about spring training is that it doesn't mean anything unless you want it to mean something, and then you'll pick and choose. And so the things that I don't want to be meaningful are how awful our pitchers have been.
Oh, man.
Tony Cueto got knocked around.
Mad Bum gave a 3-run first inning, yeah.
Yeah, Jake Peavy looked, I don't want to say he looked bad because the numbers are bad, but especially when you got these veteran guys, they're not trying to win. They're just trying to get their pitches down. They're trying to figure out their release point. I don't think you can take anything actually seriously. I think spring training, the things you can gain from it are whether somebody's healthy or not is a big one. And, if you want to look around the league, you've got guys like Victor Martinez on the Tigers who had a terrible season because one of his knees wasn't working at all. And so whenever he batted from the right side, he just couldn't hit the ball, and now he's doing well. So you look at that and you say, oh, this guy's healthy. even though it's spring, even though the numbers don't count, the fact that he can swing is a good thing. I think that's one thing we're going to be looking for a lot here is how will Angel Pagan look now that he's not broken.
And in left field.
And in left field. So things like that are good. Pagan did not play today, but
he played yesterday.
But he's been playing.
Yeah, he's the only outfielder to play so far. Blanco and Pence still haven't. Cardinals have a major injury. Johnny Peralta injured 2 to 3 months. That's brutal.
Yeah, so it looks like it's going to be Aledmus Diaz, I believe is his name, or our old friend Jed Jerko.
Diaz is gonna come in. You know he's gonna hit 20 home runs, right? Because he's a Cardinal. The Cardinal way.
Yeah, Cardinal devil magic. but I think Diaz was, I mean, maybe not a hot prospect, but at least an interesting quantity at some point in his career. So it's not the strangest thing in the world to come up and see him do this, but yeah, it's going to be classic Cardinals. If they lose one of their big sluggers and then they just call up, some random dude and he ends up slugging really well. And you also see guys like Mark Reynolds. Mark
Trumbo?
Mark Trumbo, that's the guy.
Yeah. I can read your mind.
Isn't Mark Trumbo on the Orioles now?
I have no idea. If those guys who strike out 225 times in regular play. I can't tell them apart anymore.
It's going to be really interesting to see some of the guys who just signed. You had Pedro Alvarez is now probably going to be the all-time DH for the Orioles. So it's interesting things like that. But when it comes to the Giants, it's nice to see our chosen prospect outfielders doing pretty well.
Yeah, Parker versus Williamson. We got that bet going. They're both mashing.
They're both mashing. Christian Arroyo, the number one prospect in the Giants system, did really well in the game yesterday. He had a pinch hit home run and then, was part of a big rally that was basically all done by the young hot prospects in the Giants system. So that's good to see. It's spring training and who cares, but good who cares is better than bad who cares.
That's a really good point, Danny. Well, thank you for coming on and catching us up with baseball. We're going to plug our show, our San Francisco Giants podcast, Giants Pod. You can find that on iTunes. We're going to update it every Wednesday night / Thursday morning. It's going to be a weekly show, and soon we'll have actual baseball to talk about. Isn't that great?
It's really exciting.
All right, man. Well, I'm going to talk to you in a little bit when we record our show. Have a good night, my friend.
Sounds good. You too.
All right, it is time to bring on our producer, Tory, for Tory Topics. Tory, what is in the not-so-news today?
I did karaoke with Santa Cruz Warriors.
You did? I got I got 3 text messages last night from different people saying, I am doing karaoke with the Warriors. I had to clarify Santa Cruz Warriors.
Baby Warriors.
The C-dubs, as they call them here. Now.
Well, hold on.
Go ahead, Joaquin.
Speaking of the Santa Cruz Warriors, do you know who's coming to town to play the Warriors on Sunday?
The Globetrotters?
The Delaware 87ers. And do you know who plays for the 87ers? That's right.
The Bloody Baron!
The Warriors legend, Baron Davis.
He dunked in a game the other day. Which I think
with
is really
hands.
Which is really important, I think. Because he said pregame, I'm not going to dunk.
And then he just couldn't help himself.
He could not resist the dunk. So that's actually, I need a schedule to go to that game. That sounds amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, coach's decision at the Warriors
Sunday
game.
evening, 6 p.m.
Now, what did they sing, Victoria? Because that's important.
It was some Pharrell song. We were all a little inebriated. And
it was ladies' night.
It was just 6 Warriors up there riffing on this track, and it was
with 2 microphones.
With just 2 microphones. They were crowded around them.
6 240 to 280 pound dudes with 2 baby microphones. I think one of them has sparkles on it too.
Was this at the Boardwalk Bowl?
Yeah, this was at Boardwalk Bowl.
So there are some clueless people in this world, and I know some of them. The demographics of Santa Cruz are not very demographic, let's say, Joaquin. So when you see...
Let's say you would expect them to be baseball fans.
Yeah. Santa Cruz is a pretty white town.
Yeah, with a few Latinos.
Yeah, Latino population in Watsonville next door and mixed in town. Not a lot of African American people in the county.
No, not many.
Now, when you see 6 or 7, 6'7" African American guys, you can pretty much say to yourself, that is a basketball team that plays, at Kaiser Permanente. It's either the Santa Cruz Warriors or a visiting team.
Well, it's like when you see 2 6'7" people wearing NBA Fit T-shirts walking across the Soquel Bridge. They're going to the hotel, and they play for the D-League
clothes.
Team.
They weren't in anything that would suggest that they were players. So I saw them and I was like, I wonder if those are the Warriors. And I'm like, that might be racist of me to say.
I was trying to ascertain which players were there and couldn't get a good read. I said, was one of them white? Because they have Aaron Kraft. Yes. They have one Caucasian player. So that would have been my Guess Who moment. Mm-hmm. Remember the game Guess Who? Well, they have red hair? Okay, well, it's one of these two guys.
When you were flagging me down from the other room, I was literally looking at the roster trying to remember which guy I'd sang Wrecking Ball to.
Oh, yeah. Tori has a fantastic voice. One of her only skills, actually. She's a single threat. Acting, stand-up comedy, singing. What else can you do?
I can dance.
Dress up like comic book characters.
Yeah, I can dress up like comic book characters.
Actually, Tori, you can sew, right?
Yeah, I'm a really good sewer.
Costume design. Okay, yeah, Tori's very talented. I don't even know why we only let her on the show for 10 minutes.
Jack of all trades, master of absolutely nothing.
They've renamed this segment Tory Talents.
Tory Talents. Hot
for
topics.
Show and Tell this week.
What do you have?
So I sent you guys this video link, but Blackhawks announcer Eddie Olczyk goes nuts over a little kid eating an ice cream cone as they're scanning through the crowd and starts commentating on the kid eating the ice cream cone.
What was the score in the game?
This is how boring that Blackhawks game was.
Yeah, see, this is a Kruk and Kipe thing with the San Francisco Giants. Mm-hmm. They love the crowd.
Oh, yeah, they break down how people execute what they're doing in the crowd all the time.
What the first bite of the pretzel is going to be, mm-hmm. which loop you go off, or do you go base? Do you eat the little nubs off the end first?
Do you try to get some of the salt off of it? Are you content with the salt levels?
Wait,
you brush?
There are people that don't immediately eat the nubs off of their pretzels?
Yes.
That's the only way you're supposed to eat it.
Some people go loop. Some people go top loop.
Some people just want to watch the world burn.
I just kind of want to unwrap the whole pretzel and turn it into a big, long, string and then just eat
So when you have a pretzel and a beer, do you go pretzel or beer first?
I have two hands.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. You have two options.
Oh, you want to eat the salt first and then sip. Salt, sip, salt, sip.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a strategy.
I have to give it to that Blackhawks announcer. I'm all for breaking down how people in the crowd consume.
Is there a Blackhawks announcer?
Probably.
In the ATL? Oh,
probably. Okay. When I went to the Hawks game, they had Rich Homie Quan play at halftime. It was awesome.
I have no idea who that is.
He's saying he did that song Some Type of Way, which the Michigan football team danced to with the chancellor of the university after they won the Rose Bowl a few years ago.
And the ethnicity of the chancellor of the university?
White and old and small and female. It's amazing. It's a video you should all look up.
You just defined Tory as well. All right, next topic.
Whoa.
You're not that old.
A 3-letter word.
We're all around the same age. So.
At the Horizon League tournament, Green Bay's play-by-play announcer Matt Menzel was temporarily ejected from the game.
Yeah, what did he do?
No one's really quite sure, because all you see on the video is suddenly the refs are waving their hands and throwing him out.
So Green Bay hadn't made the tournament in 20 years. They won the Horizon League final. Congrats to them. Good job. You're going to lose. How do you get... I've announced basketball games. I can't even get a ref to look at me.
He had to be loud and just disruptive.
Was he giving one of the, hey ref, use these, and grabbing his eyeballs or something?
Pitcher, belly itcher, what are the things you shout at refs as you're a man on a microphone. There's only so many things you can say.
Well, there was that thing where an ump ejected the organist at a baseball game for playing Three Blind Mice.
Oh, that's good.
Is that on the banned songs list?
Yeah, it's not good for school children.
Is there a list of songs that organists can't play at baseball stadiums?
Stevie Wonder songs.
Oh.
Ray Charles. Ray Lewis songs are bad too. Stomp the Yard.
Oh God. Oh my God.
This is why we do this show. All right, Tori.
So in 45 minutes, the Texans spent $126 million.
Over 6 years.
I mean,
In an hour, the Giants spent $200 million.
In over 6 years.
sounds like a Real Madrid buying 2 players sort of thing.
Yeah, my goodness.
Color me not impressed.
But here's my favorite story from free agency today.
Okay.
A Jaguars fan tricked ESPN into reporting a fake trade rumor.
Ugh.
They were using Jay Glazer's profile picture and had their name changed to Jay Glazer and tweeted, Dolphins defensive end Olivier Vernon headed north to Jacksonville for 4 years, $75.5 million. Fox Sports picks it up and attributed it to Glazer. The first time Glazer has ever been attributed. He was really upset.
Somebody got fired, and it wasn't Jay Glazer. Olivier Vernon ended up much further north.
See, that is a great use of Twitter.
I'm just wondering, like, is that how he wound up getting the $85 million contract?
You got a little bit of negotiation going on, a little bargaining.
My favorite Twitter joke is whenever a celebrity or athlete or whoever just insults the eggs. It's like, dude, you're an egg.